So hello and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. We're here live in the Full Speed Event Studios down in the old Beer Cellar studio, hence the Irish roof. And we are live on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel, bringing you all of the action from tonight's Women's Only Wednesday on the Donny Chaingang, or WOWDCG as it's known by pretty much all and sundry. Now, this has been a big long run already, and great to see lots of different people coming in. We've got lots of people actually moving along and not just riding the WOWDCG, but also riding on the Tuesday and Thursday rides on the Donny Chaingang as well. And great to see so many people out and riding on the Chaingang. It's great to have you all on board. Now, a couple of little things as a little bit of admin for you. Please, guys, remember, make sure you subscribe to the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. That way it's really easy to click on the links and to watch all of the action from all of the rides. Don't forget, if you are joining and you fancy supporting the Chaingang, well, the easy way to do it is to join the DCG gang. That's the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and that means that we basically are able to keep on bringing the show on the road. We get the YouTube stream out there. We look after the Facebook page. We get everybody supported, and we keep the community rolling, and that is absolutely critical. So don't forget, guys, to support the Donny Chaingang, and do so by joining the gang. In return, we say thank you in a myriad of ways. We give out a lot of discounts from our supporters. We've got some more great supporters that we're looking forward to bringing out some more discounts for. So that could be 25% off OTE. It might be 10% over and above the already discounted prices at 1080. 10% off Halo. We've got great giveaways all the way into the spring. And we've also, of course, get all of our riders on the DCG gang heads up early. They get to know where the routes are going as soon as we do. They get to know the distances, who's going to be our red beacons. They also get insider information in terms of route details. So where we're going, what is it going to be like? Is it going to be hilly? Is it going to be fast? Where's the trigger points for the attacks? What do we think about the route? And what does Swift Insider think? Links to VeloViewer, our fantastic supporters with all of the graphics, as well as to Zwift Insider and Zwift Hacks as well, which gives everybody as much chance to get the best information. They get that early, of course, don't have to wait just to register per ride. So don't forget, if you've got a few quid spare, then jump on the gang one month and see what it's all about. Maybe take advantage of those discounts. If you haven't, don't worry, the Chaingang will always have that free-to-ride option as part of the Chaingang by just registering. The easy way to do that is go via the link to the ticketing page, and that is really simple. Just go onto the Donny Chaingang web pages at donnychaingang.co.uk. Now, we are just keeping an eye on our riders just coming in. We've seen them coming thick and fast on a multitude of platforms, including the fantastic companion app, which is invaluable for everybody. So it looks like just seeing Tracy Fletcher, who's in action at the weekend, joining. She was out and racing. Cindy in here, so Cindy Gagan in as well. We've got Sammy Stewart in here, who is racing on Monday for the Canyon Esports team. Ruby Isaac was racing the weekend as well. Lots of great riders in there, and as you can see, if you take a little bit of a look at the message board over on the far side, nice and busy. Now, the yellow messages there from our yellow beacon, and that is Emma. So Emma, our coach, the rider who's in action at the weekend as well, and in fact was racing yesterday. Hopefully those legs have recovered. I'm not sure that they will have done. Let's have a chat with our yellow beacon. Emma, how are you doing? How are the legs?
Oh, it's going to be interesting tonight. Third effort in 5 days.
Third effort. I think there were a lot of efforts at the weekend. The National Cross Championships was muddy. It was hard, and there was a lot of hard riding to be done on that as well.
Yeah, I have to say, when I tried to stand up out of the saddle last night on my turbo and sprint, there really was very little there.
Well, that's not going to necessarily be a good sign tonight, because we are in Paris for the Champs-Élysées. Now, we'll run through the course for people in terms of distances, but as we move into that 2.5 minutes to go sort of period, we'll just ask you quick heads up in terms of pacing. What are we looking for from our riders as they set off?
Yeah, so tonight we're going to roll off the start line, max 2 watts per kilo. We've got a 3.2k lead in, followed by 5 laps of around 6.6k each. We've then got the extra little segment from the orange banner to the green sprint banner, which is where we're going to finish tonight. before our normal warm down. So instructions on the screen, if you can follow them please. We'll do our normal slow pace wind up, I think, this evening. So we'll move through 2.5, 3.5 watts per kilo until at some point go, go, go will appear on the screen.
Well, that's going to be really interesting to see at what point that happens on the way through. Certainly looking forward to seeing when that's going to be. And, of course, that is not all that long. The clock ticking currently at 1 minute 40 on the clock. So we're going to let you go in and brief all of the troops about how, where and when tonight.
Thanks, Matt.
So great to hear from our yellow beacon. Let's dive straight into that map. You can see the map courtesy of Zwift Hacks. Amazing resource in terms of routes, in terms of data, and the basics. That's a visual representation of the map relative to the world of Zwift. Now, we have got the Champs-Élysées in Paris. It's going to be a 3.2k lead in. It is going to be the distance 6.6 around the loop, and as you can see, we're just going to change our little world here to Paris. We're definitely not in Watopia tonight. There we go. We have 5 laps of 6.6k, and then 1.3 to the latest sprint. So down around the big shovel part of this spade-shaped course, around the flat shovel section, up the handle, and then round the top of the loop. So the full lap going from the orange banner to the orange banner, then that extra 1.3k up to the green to finish a 2.5k warm down, 200 metres of elevation, and Emma, our yellow beacon, controlling things at the front. Don't forget, if you want help, if you're out and about on the course, you need to give a shout out to Sammy Stewart, doing our red beacon duties tonight. So the gang up and rolling. I think Sammy, without her red beacon over her head, is going to make things a little bit more interesting for people. But Sammy, very recognisable now because she's going to be in her kit, which is going to be in the colours of I would imagine, we'll have a look, the Canyon Esports kit as she heads out. So, courtesy of Zwift Insider and Zwift Hacks, will move from their map across to the Velo Viewer map as our riders just get themselves into order out on the course, and hopefully going to get themselves all into one group. The course profile, well, as you can see, it's a really flat course around that shovel section, with the drop down at the very tip of the spade of the shovel. As our riders drop down, they go basically down into that shovel section, around the cobbles, around the Tuileries Gardens, so then before coming up onto the Champs-Élysées Avenue itself, making the way up around the Arc de Triomphe, that's at the top on the northwest corner, and then dropping back down and around 5 full laps plus the run up, and our finish actually at the top of the hill is not going to necessarily suit the flat out sprinters, but the riders well underway. And if we take a little bit of a look over there, you can see our yellow beacon shining out. That's our ride leader, and we drop in some stats. We're just sitting rolling with Sammy Stewart at the moment. And if you take a little bit of a look up on the screen, top left hand corner up there, watts, so that's currently rolling just about the 100 watts mark. It's 78 revs per minute at the moment for 705 beats per minute. Now, Sammy Stewart, a rider who started off riding regularly on Zwift, rode the Chaingang regular on the women's only Chaingang, moved to the Aeonian squad, signed up by them, and now signed up to ride for the Canyon Esports team on Zwift, where she was racing in the Premier Division on Monday. Now, Sammy currently doing 31 kilometres an hour. You can see it up in the middle of the screen, a little bit further over, kind of a bit further that way. And in the blue, 0.9k covered as they go down past the banks of the Seine. Currently 2 metres of elevation, done 2 minutes of riding. The map on the far side, where you can see we're going to flick that from being 3D to 2D, and we can even zoom out to get the whole of the panhandle here. So just taking a little bit of a check down and through. So our riders just rolling along in a pack. You can just see the gang just nicely starting to condense down, and everybody sat in there looking very comfy at the moment, I have to say, as they ride down the straight. So our beacon already popping the messages up. We can see the riders on the right hand side in those time gaps. It looks like we've got both Titch and Tiff on from the Fletchers. Can't keep a good Fletcher down when it comes to the Chaingang by the look of it. So let's go join them and all of our riders here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel, live down on that ride. So as you can hear, our helicopter just tracking our riders. They're about to go hit the underpass. Let's jump down in and join them underneath the underpass as the gang start rolling down underneath. And you can hear those cobbles underneath the wheels. This actually adds extra resistance to the riders. They come in and through. So the gang holding steady at 2 watts per kilo at the moment, and you can just see the gang working well together. Some great scenery out in Paris. A really faithful representation of the ride, and you can see the focus there on our Canyon eSports rider, and that is going to be Sammy Stewart as Sammy rolls through. Sonia Inslee, super sprinter Sonia in the black, just making her way back onto the back of the group. It's going to be, we're going to get her a jersey. I think we have to get a jersey made which says hashtag Super Sprinter Sonia. Always somebody that you know is going to be able to sprint. Doesn't matter how shattered she is, she always sprints at the finish. And interesting to see how she gets on tonight. And you can see plenty of the Aeonian team jerseys there, including that of our ride leader, who was in action yesterday. Let's jump across to Emma, and let's keep a little bit of a check on our ride leader. So the ride leader in that Aeonian jersey here with the orange cap on, and going for a real fast bike setup by the look of it, because just trying to keep a little bit of a check. Yep, gone for the full-on aero frame and a disc wheel and deep front wheel as well. And this pack is rolling along quite quickly here as they come on in through the side of the square. This group looking good at the moment. Now, this, of course, made famous on the Tour de France. It's the same circuit as the Tour uses on its way round. And as you can see, that group riding well. Sammy Stewart just patrolling the back of the pack, making sure everybody stays together on the way through. And some great pictures here from Zwift. Now the Zwift platform, the one that we use for the Donny Chaingang, because it provides such a great platform to ride on. It feels good, it looks good, and it allows that personalisation of riders you just don't seem to get anywhere else. And it does mean it shows you exactly who is what, where, and how. So at the moment, that group just coming up, they're about to complete their leading. That leading completed when they hit the orange banner, and they're going to do 5 full laps as they come round, plus the run from the orange banner up to the archway up above. And you can see the riders just about to come through the arch here. This is the start and finish of the lap, but the actual start finish, the finish of the ride will be up on the top. Now it's going to be interesting, just keeping an eye on the ride. So it is tonight Cindy, not Chloe, on the gang, and we've got Laura Lawson in the mob as well. It's Fletcher Squared. We've got Julie Scales on there as well. Lots of people chatting away. So Laura Lawson, another of our riders who's racing at the weekend out on the Nationals course in here. We've got Alex Morris in here as well. Alex riding really strongly on the last Chaingang we had. Let's start dropping some stats in for our residents. Go for our fantastic game of heart rate bingo. 127 for Morris. Good to see that Lawson's still feeling the damage from the weekend with the bruising coming up, not surprised. Now we've also got Tracy Seeley on here, Terminator 2.0. Looking pretty smooth here on that Tron bike as we make our way up through the circuit here, heading up towards the climb. And looks like who else we've got? We've got Joanne Lee now. Joanne, another of our regulars in here in that Rafa kit, matching that Tron bike as well. Very nicely done. Julie Scales up on the front of the group, and Julie, another of our regulars on the WOWDCG. We've got Julie Brown in here, Claire Jessup in the group. Looks like Steph Rourke in here. Steph in that black kit with the fluo legend on there. Now we've got Gagan in here, so we do have, as we've said, number of Gagans on the ride. This is Cindy Gagan in here, and Cindy riding on that black Cervelo with the deep rims. Easy car, just finding it is hard to type and ride at the same time. You're not wrong, it is absolutely incredibly difficult. Our Vic is doing an amazing job. Good to see that we've got Becky Porter, James Becky, another rider, so we keep on seeing improving now. Two Fletchers on the ride today, way to tell them apart. This is the real addict of the pair, the one that really does need therapy. This is Tiffany Fletcher, regularly in action on the Donny Chaingang riding yesterday. We do have Tracy in as well. We'll jump on there. Just seeing Emma Dooley, Emma in the yellow and black kit regularly. That's what we always see her in. Good to see that we have got Millie Skinner in with us now. Millie riding in the jersey of the Downing Cycling Coach Riders Day. You can see coaching works on the back. Now, the rider's just going in underneath that beacon. This is the underneath the archway, the green archway. That is the finish. Now, let's have a little look. We've got Ruby Isaacs in here. Ruby in, Isaac racing at the weekend on the National Championship. And there's an amazing picture. Ruby is not the tallest rider on the ride today. Well, let's just put it that way. The bank that she was running up on one of the pictures from the Nationals must be about 10 times her body height, honestly. And it's an amazing picture. Ruby did a brilliant job, and she's still smiling when she came through the finish. Despite the mud, the grid, how tough it was great to see just how everybody was riding, and to see so many of our regular riders out there on the bike. We're just watching everybody go through here. So we've got to make sure we get the right Fletchers. Now, this is Tracy Fletcher. This is the, of course, former world and national champion at the cross, and not quite as addicted as Tiff. They are related, do oddly enough know each other, but both mother and daughter incredibly quick on a bike, and both really good on the Chaingang, it has to be said. Just we've got Anne Bale in here as well. You see messages keep raining in thick and fast, and the gang rolling along. Say the call was for 2.5 watts per kilo. I think everybody just keeping it nice and smooth. Oh, looks like we've got Joe Jarvis in here as well, just trying to catch hold of Joe in the gang now. Joe Jarvis, another of the Aeonian squad, and good to see Joe riding this nice and smooth. Again, going for that aero bike. We're just trying to get a good shot of the bike here, and you can just see that great aero frame, the Specialized, actually the fastest frame in the game. What was fastest frame was the Cervelo. Apparently not going quite so quick at the moment. The frame that's ridden by Millie at the moment, apparently, allegedly, not the fastest in the game at the moment. So it may well be that if you're racing, you want to lose that frame on the way through, but good to see the gang on the way down here. And it's all about holding those wheels, just watching Casey just push in through the back of the group. Let's see, we've got Emma Gilbert in here as well. So Emma, another of our regulars on the Chaingang, getting quicker and quicker every time we see it in action. We've had Emma back in with us as well. We've got Anne Bale in here, and another of the riders. We'll see occasionally, but hopefully back regularly when we've got the run through, and nice match in green and white kit to match the Bolsover kit, or almost as close as you can get to the Bolsover kit in game. So Sarah Hawkins in here, Johanna Lee in the game, and riding as we come around once on the way around. Now to see we've got Pip Morn in here as well, so Pip with the Power Up jersey on, another of our riders regularly riding the women's only on Wednesday on the Donny Chaingang or the WOWDCG. And this angle, looking back up to the Arc de Triomphe, it really does show you how much of a drag up to that finish line, to the green arch it is, as we see our kit coming through, our riders coming through. They're just about to come down to the level with the finishing banner, and you can see it's a long way up that hillside, and getting your timing right on this circuit is really, really tough at the moment. Prior to the go point given by our yellow beacon, everything is about keeping that group together to work together as they come in and along and making the way down this straight. So it looks like Izzy Torrey just reabsorbed into the bunch here. Katie just rolling away up to the front, and certainly the pack at the moment as they make their way down this straight here, looking good as they head down. The gang rolling around well together. Let's see if we can grab a quick moment with our yellow beacon, who is just keeping things hopefully under control. Emma, how are you doing?
This blob is running well tonight.
It looks to be running very well. Whilst you're going to do some talking, I'm going to do some drinking some Grand Tour coffee. Don't be jealous or anything, but the blob is looking good. You can see it on your screens somewhere around about down there on your screens. And the group all together is they're making their way round on towards the riverbank here. And it's working well, and nobody taking a flyer. It's just rolling through nice and smooth.
Yep, really good, nice warm-up pace. You know, we rolled out at 2 watts per kilo, first lap at 2.5. Gets everybody nice and warm, and the group rolling quite nicely.
Definitely, and we can just see, good to see that we got Sammy in there in a very distinctive kit. I mean, you were just mentioning the kit on the message board. It is a very nice kit, and although she did say she had to, she's missing her AEO kit, I'm not surprised. It is the AEO is very distinctive, and a lot of teammates in there, but Sammy's always going to have a home on the DCG, as have the Aeonian brothers, because you can just see this group working really, really well. It's spread out all the way across the lane, isn't it?
It is, and the group is working really well, and it's great to see, you know, both Tracy and Tiff here tonight. Julie, we've got local riders on, we've got riders from across the UK, all sorts of different women come to ride tonight, which is brilliant.
It is, and the Chaingang, with its distinctive format and its reputation for being well drilled and controlled, is doing just that.
It is tantamount to everybody on it. They're a great group.
Yep, definitely got to agree with that 100%. Well, we're going to let you get back to pedaling and not just chatting to us and typing simultaneously. And we'll see how you're getting on. Interesting to see heart rate currently about 133 by the look of it. So clearly working reasonably hard at the moment after yesterday.
Well, you know, the legs are all right at the moment. It might not be that way later.
We might quote you on that. Cheers, Emma.
Bye.
So great to catch up with our yellow beacon. Let's drop back in with the riders coming up out from that underpass as the hot air balloon takes off here in Paris. So the group working well at the moment. We're just keeping a check on the riders as they make their way up that straight at the side here, and the group still holding together nicely at the moment. So remember, the riders are going to come around. This will be a 1 lap complete when they hit the orange banner. This time there'll be 4 more plus that finishing straight to go. Just going up onto the front, that looks to me like we're just starting to see Julie Bratton just winding it up a little bit on the front here, which is a surefire sign. You've got some twitchy riders in there, just wanting to keep that pace ticking along nicely, and we're just seeing it rolling around at that 2.5 watts per kilo pace at the moment. You see that we've got Lindsay Clark back here with us again. Lindsay, another of our regular riders in that 4i kit there. And look at this, you can tell that this group is really well matched because there's basically no arrowhead. They're all rolling around the front, holding that pace, holding that control, not losing position too much, and nobody being silly, and everybody holding in. And what will happen is this pace is suddenly going to pick up, and then we'll start to see when our yellow beacon is going to shout that go, go, go marker. Good to see you see sorry, like I'm saying, in the yellow and black there. And very distinctive kit there. Is he tucked in? And again, go for another aero flame as well. Very hard to just sit on any one rider at the back of this group as they start to make their way up this straight. Our riders getting a power up every time we go through a banner. Generally, there's a rotating power up that drops in, and those power ups being used by the riders, using them up as they make their way up this straight. At the moment, you can just see them going up over the people's heads. So the feather reduces your weight by 10%, the van reduces the drag by 10%. The aero helmet reduces your aerodynamic drag by 10. Now 10% drafting bonus is definitely different to the 10% aero. So the draft only works behind people, the aero most effective when you're on the front. We don't have negative ones actually in the game on the Chaingang. So negative ones are things like the burrito, which stops people from drafting you. So there's no meanness on the Chaingang. We don't have mean power-ups on the game, but lots of people getting that quick jersey now. So this is going to be very interesting because we're only going on to lap number 2 already. Our beacon saying, well, everyone's comfy here. Well, let's lift this to 3 watts per kilo. Let's see what happens here at the back of the group, because it's the back of the group that we start to see the damage generally being done when that wattage goes up. So I think Katie measures just on the back, just squeezing in there. Sammy just sitting off the back of that little group. So it's all about stay in the pack, keep the draft, don't lose the draft. Don't worry about Sammy Stewart. Sammy can handle herself at this pace. The moment when Sammy's in trouble, we're all in trouble. Says the man as Sammy uses an aero, uses a feather, so that's a 10% advantage for Sammy. That's feather in when it goes. So yeah, the effect is all over here. So Sammy just jumping in on the back. Ruby having to squeeze in. Come on, Ruby, keep that pace nice and high. So Ruby just holding in there. This ramped workout is going to test our riders. We're 20 minutes in, we're 10k covered, and you will just see the group starting to fracture a little. If we go up above here, you can start to see a number of riders just feeling the pressure here. Come on, Ruby, time to squeeze. Is he got to do the same? Katie and Ambell, guys, you need to squeeze into the back. Remember, if you're sitting in the group, you're going to get a lot more assistance on the way through, and you can just see Ruby in the orange squeezes into the back. Izzy in the yellow and black squeezes in as well. And if we take a little bit of a look up the road, this is with Ruby's eye view, and then just able to see Ruby's avatar here. The slight easing here is before that final kick up, and generally once the hammer goes down, where it becomes difficult is the top of the slope, and it levels off around the top of the Arc de Triomphe. The group will spread out physically on the ground. The time gaps stay the same, but it physically spreads out on the ground. That's when the gaps open up, and that is when, as the back comes on, if the front is already picking up the pace, the gap will open, and then riders can be in trouble and will need to get themselves back on again, or they'll need the assistance of our Red Beacons and Co. At the back, the bus drivers at the back of the game. So it looks like Emma ruined her, letting a gap go in yesterday's race at the top of the climb, left in no man's land afterwards. I think her description was rookie error, but easily done, because when you're on the limit, that last little push over the top can make all the difference. So just seeing Emma Dooley on here, you can see the gradients down going to 0%, top right hand side of your screen, a little bit of a kick it to 1%, that rolls you in to the Arc de Triomphe, and this is where things get interesting. If anybody's off the back at this point, they're then going to be in trouble, because when you come round here, that pace kicks up. That's when things get difficult. But at the moment, everybody's looking ridiculously comfortable at this pace at the moment as they go around the top of the Arc de Triomphe. You can just see the inflatable squirrel just looking down on our riders as they go around the side of the Arc. So it looks like Laura Lawson losing contact at the same point when they were up on the race. Our riders now heading down the straight here, and the pace will pick up quite quickly. If you're a lighter rider, the moment it goes downhill, that's when you can be in trouble. So just seeing a few people on the back of that route dropping down. So just getting messages come in from people watching on the Down in Cycling YouTube channel. The comments coming in looks like Michael Clark and one of the regulars on the Chaingang just saying, I'm going to try and make sure I get this quote right from Michael, just saying, watching yet again, looks like a great blob, well done guys, put one of the guys on. So Michael watching the action live on the Down in Cycling YouTube channel, and to be honest, if you wanted to watch how Chaingang, how the WOWDCG aims to run so far today, and I'm not going to curse it, it's on its way down here. So the gang dropping down here. So Joji, I was just comparing race notes on the way through with Lawson as well as the gang, so the teams who the riders who were racing yesterday, just comparing notes. This group is still rolling along quite nicely. Ruby tucked into the back, so Stuart patrolling the back. You can see the experienced riders here, because if we just take a little bit of a look, Sammy Stewart is on the beacon duty here today, and you can see that right on over the top. We're dropping another one on here. There it goes. Now, Sammy just patrols the back, doesn't push too hard on the front, her modulating the power so that she can sit in the right positions, just roll at the back. That subtlety is a real skill, and when we have new riders, it's generally what we struggle with, getting that subtlety of movement, that generally difficult to get control, that modulation, that just adjusting the power fractionally just to do exactly what you want is very difficult to do, and that's what takes skill, takes practice, and even regular riders find it when they go back on after a little bit of a break. Takes time just to get that little bit of just feeding, just squeezing that power in gently, and certainly at the moment you can just see looking like it's pretty smooth at the moment. 13.8k covered. We're out on to our next lap. When we get to the finishing line, it's going to be 2 laps complete and come back in and round. So the riders at the moment ticking along quite nicely. Good to see that Sammy says apparently she learned it on the DCG. That's good to hear. The Donny Chaingang, we do take a lot of time, and that's whether it's the WOWDCG or the Tuesday and Thursday DCGs, the Open Donny Chaingang. It is all about learning different skills. So you notice that we use different courses, different speeds. We're looking to give a really good grounding to be able to ride fast on Zwift. It is a skill. It's just like any discipline, whether you ride cross or then ride the mountain bike. It's 2 very different skill sets required to do that. And although they are just hammering around a circuit in the mud, they both require different skills. Same with riding on Zwift, as you would suggest going from road to track to mountain bike. All those different disciplines all have their own skill sets that need to be learned. Getting the power right, knowing when to push, when not to push, how much time like your system has is critical. So if I'm out and riding and we're using the broadcast setup when we're going out and checking out the routes, it's ultra fast. The moment I push on the pedals, the avatar responds and moves. If I do it and we're maybe just using the standard setup on a laptop or on a Mac, then the delay particularly on a Wi-Fi setup, just a non-studio base. Well, that is actually about 1 to 2 seconds slower, like in the system, and that's all about the speed and the pace of response. So you tend to find that lag is critical to understanding how it's riding and how it's going to move on the way through. So it does depend on the setup, and it can catch you out very easily indeed. You can get distance at the wrong time, not getting the push on right at the right moment. Now, I just put in a call, 3 watts per kilo max at the moment as we go up onto this little draggy section. This kick making it hard, and Izzy Torrey just having to put in some serious watts there. You can see Izzy's going up to 5 watts per kilo to chase on to the back of that group as it goes up over the bump. But everybody back together once again, and just going to take a little bit of a look. I think Ruby just at the back of that group, that little kicker up there. We've got to remember Ruby's wattage, because she's one of our lighter riders. Let's, for instance, imagine that Ruby were to weigh 33.333 kilos. When she's doing 100 watts on the straight, that means she's doing 3 watts per kilo to do that, and I think it's pretty powerful, I guess, in terms of getting the numbers right there. If you are somebody of the size of our average female rider, which is somewhere around about, for example, let's say it's 50 watts per kilo, 50 kilos, 60 kilos, and that's still one of our fairly lightweight riders. And then 100 watts at 50 kilos, it's only 2 watts per kilo. If you are a bigger rider, so let's say that you are in that 70 or maybe even 100 kilo rider, which we do have 100 kilo riders in Chaingang, do 100 watts per kilo. And on the flat, watts are almost as important as the watts per kilo, so it does make a difference. The lighter riders struggling with the pace if they're not in the draft and the downhills, the bigger riders goes uphill, and then that works against them having that extra wattage, that extra power. At the moment, this group going very well matched. And as you can see, it looks like Sammy's having a relatively easy night tonight, but let's see if that continues. I have to say, although Sammy's kit is very nice, the Canyon kit, definitely missing socks at the moment. -1 style point, in fact -2 style points. No socks on, definitely not good news. So riders on the way in towards the line once again. And this is going to be the end of this lap. Complete, half an hour done. The time ticking away quite nicely. All this group riding very comfy at the minute. We're just seeing the odd little fluctuation, and really interesting to see. We're getting new PBs all the way through this race field, going up and through. Oh, that's impressive. Sammy Stewart has managed to get the socks on even while she's mid-ride. That's impressive stuff, Sammy. I'd like to know how you do that. That is a neat trick. Every time mine disappear, I can't do it. So nicely done indeed, and of course matching the shoes and the helmet as well. The gang rolling along quite nicely here, and looks like pretty much everybody together is going now onto this climb. Remember that every time we go up here, these riders are getting used to it as they make their way up. The riders nicely getting that group rolling. It's getting quicker and quicker. We're seeing faster and faster personal best round each lap, which is the aim. So the riders are nicely ramping up as well. The juices by Yellow Beacon, as well as chatting, motivating, typing, talking. It's also about that ramp and starting to wind it up. If our riders do get distance, what they need to remember, find a group, get with the beacon, and the group will go together. But now the pressure is on. The colour's gone to 3.5 watts per kilo. So this is where Anne Bale needs to push. Anne in the green, just starting to get distance. 6 meters is the draft. Ruby needs to squeeze on in here as well, because Ruby Isaac's just yo-yoing at the back. The gaps are starting to open up. You just see that back row of riders. It's a bit like the Devil Take the Hindmost. Anne Bale just getting a little bit of a toe, because it's all about getting into the back of that group as it comes up onto the climb here. We're going to drop in with our red beacon, Sammy Stewart. Sammy Sammy just making sure she's able to pace these riders up the climb here. And Sammy will work to get anybody who's off the back on again, I'm sure. But really, really tough stuff. As Bell gets dropped, so I think that could well be a power drop out. So Sammy moves onwards now. And you can see Bell now just ticking along. It may well be that Anslade's just gone pop, or the kick gone pop, but it looks like she's just dropped off the pace there. So Sammy Stewart now working away onto the back of the gang. So Sammy easing off the pressure after that charge back in again. Just taking a look at the back of the group. The group under the pressure, the pace at the front. Remember, it's been lifted to 3.5 on the way up. This is a run in through underneath the gantry here, just riding with Pip Moore. And straight up underneath, and looks like the gang again. More personal records going in, more PRs by everybody on the way through. Absolutely brilliant to see. So our beacon onto the front. Yellow beacon just started leading this group up here, just keeping that pace picked up and rolling around about that 3.5 watts per kilo, not letting it ease back off again, and getting this pace right absolutely critical. It doesn't matter whether it's Jimmy Allen the Wolf, whether it's Russ Downing the Bear, or whether it is Emma Payne the boss. All these leaders, absolutely experienced, great leaders out in on the course. They get a real feel for how the riders ride about their individual packs, and great to see. And look at that, the gang back together again, and Ruby Isaacs jumps straight in there, goes up over at that pace, which after having raced at the weekend, the recovery time, unfortunately, the youngsters generally a little bit quicker than the older riders who run in that vets category, but everybody doing a great job there. Now you've got to drop back down the other side, and this is where you've got to be careful, because you just ease off a little bit here and the front of that pack will start to stretch out. It's like Joe and Lee just on the front of that group as they come over the top here. It's going to drop away any second. So just riding in with that pack at the minute. You can just see very, very busy in there as they come down this straight. They're going to go back past that sprint point that they've just gone through on the way up. Now starting to head down in towards the descent past the pens. So the group running rather well here. The heart rates are starting to rise. Speaking of heart rates, let's see how our yellow beacon's doing. Emma, how are you?
Oh, thank you, Matt. Very kind of you to come to me when we've lifted the pace a bit.
Well, you chose to do it.
They made me laugh. That's even worse.
The pace has picked up. It's getting a little bit rapid, but we are seeing that ramp coming into effect, aren't we? And still got Ruby did a great climb back into the group there. She was just starting to yo-yo at the back, but fantastic to see that response by Ruby squeezing back in there. That's a nice bit of work done there.
Oh, it was. It was really good. And the blob is still together.
Yeah, the gang holding together. I think we've had one or two people with power dropouts, but you know what? That gang is still holding, and you've lifted it now to 3.5. We're at nearly 20k and 35 minutes in. It is rattling along somewhat, isn't it?
It is really nicely. 42 kph at the moment, as we're on our, trying to think, third lap of Paris.
Yes, indeed. I'm glad you did those musts, because I was just doing some very quick ones in my head as well. Yes, on the third lap, and of course once we come back in and round, we're going out into the fourth one. It's certainly pretty rapid at the moment. I'm just wondering, at what point do you reach the stage where you just go up in half watt per kilo and eventually end up like 10 watts per kilo with everybody sprinting? I don't think we'll quite get to that stage today. I hope not, because that's going to be some fearsome stuff. It means people didn't race hard enough yesterday if they're able to do that.
That would be a war of attrition, wouldn't it? Half a watt per kilo regularly.
Yeah, it would be pretty mean stuff. We're going to let you get back to it and not force that heart rate to go up any more than it has to, just because you're talking to us.
Thank you.
Cheers, Emma. So great to catch up with our yellow beacon. Still squeezing on those pedals at the moment. Just dropping in with Izzy Torrey. Izzy who's currently got the fastest lap time on the way through. So Sammy just saying, make sure you spin your legs now and get some of that lactic acid out on the way through. Izzy just tucked on the back here. Looks like Katie just rolling in the back, just sat in those wheels. I love Sammy Stewart. Spin your legs faster if you get dropped. Generally, if I get dropped, my legs feel like they're about to explode with lactic acid. But, you know, that's just me being rubbish. Now, Ruby tucked in here. Izzy looks like Jess and Emma Gilbert in here. And it's, these riders sitting in this pack, and it is rattling along at a fair old pace here. Then you can just see the middle of the group. You're seeing lots of 2.5s, 2.7s, 2.9. So Sammy Stewart saying dropping the gear sounds, it does indeed. That takes me in a position to go proper as thrust, Sammy. So here we are, Katie just drifting a little bit here, needs to just squeeze a little bit more. You can just see that going to 3 points, I'm just squeezing into the back of the pack. Millie's getting sat comfortably in here now. Millie's one of our regular winners on the Donny Chaingang. So once that trigger point is given and the go is triggered by our leader, then that point it is there are no speed limiters on, there is no limit to what people can do. It's all about getting across the line, and that's where we start to see things exploding on the way through. So we're going to see when that trigger point goes. Currently Millie sat in there, Notorious overtaking the win, but we've got to remember that there are plenty of other fast riders in here, plenty of people with lots of speed and pace as well. So the riders just up onto the climb, it's still blobbed up nicely together as they come up through this section. And looks like it's taking a little look. Joe Jarvis just rolling at the back of that group as well. So Sammy's still patrolling the back. Sonia just keeping that pace high on the front, doing quite a lot of work on her own there, which is going to cost her some fuel later on if you go too hard too soon. That's one of the key lessons of the Chaingang. If you spend all your time on the front, you will find that you are just burning energy you don't need. If you watch the pros on either the DCG or on the WOWDCG, they all sit. They only use that energy, that strength when they need to, and then that is when it's going to have the most effect, when they absolutely have no choice. But now, if not for everybody, that's going to be the finishing line. That might be on this run. You can see at the moment we're doing 37 kph. So 37 kph, the speed is up. Ruby needs to squeeze again, so looks like Sammy providing a bridging point. So Sammy sat in the middle there in the pink and purple, provides extra aerodynamic drag, which means extra dynamic draft, which the draft then means that Ruby gets a draft. She's doing the same watts per kilo, she can push in, but the draft is taken out of the way. She's not having to push through clean air. Sammy drags straight back into the bush. Amazing to see. That is fantastic work by the red beacon. Drops back. We call it a trail of breadcrumbs regularly on the Chaingang, so you have a lot of people dropping back, forming a chain to give a complete non-stop set of links where you're not having to force your way through that air, because the 6 meter rule on Zwift is when that aerodynamic drag takes effect. Now our red beacons need to be super strong. Super Sammy doing the business here. Sammy Stewart looks, you can just see how strong she just squeezed back into that group after having brought somebody back on again. It is a real tough workout. All our red beacons volunteers who put their names in the hat, whether it's on the DCG or on the WOWDCG, and great to see our riders doing that job. Now, not everybody's able to pull the riders back in and through. We often see the riders in the red beacon just holding a steady 2 watts per kilo, 2.5 watts per kilo. But as we always say, don't leave anybody behind. Everybody looked after, and the aim is to make sure we keep everybody in. Somebody said he wasn't know it was Super Ruby. Well, we know Ruby's absolutely super skilled. Not just at being able to ride the rolls whilst doing a multitude of tasks, but also able to put the pace down when she needs to. Now, The group just picking up pace on this little roller coaster down. So you go through that orange line, you drop down in, and then start to kick back up that hillside once again. Oh, and the beacon has said 4 watts per kilo. Now 4 watts per kilo on the drag is going to start to see bodies start to get shelled out of this very compact group. I think at 4 watts per kilo, this is going to do some damage at the back of the group. Who's going to be the first to go? Well, I don't blame anybody. At 4 watts per kilo, that is serious power that's needing to be put down. But the ramp continues to take effect here, and I think we're starting to see the string of riders getting pulled out here. So our beacon down on the front of that group. The line just starting to stretch a little bit. You're seeing power-ups coming in here as the beacon pulling it along at nearly 4 watts per kilo. Having to do all the work here pretty much on her own. I think everybody realising that at 4 watts per kilo, this is going to be tough stuff. On the way up this climb, you can just see some of the Onion squad behind on the our right, their left, the bunch here. The riders on the way up here, that pace being set on the front. Tracy Fletcher now makes a move up on the shoulder as Fletcher comes alongside the former Cross World and National Champion in the Bikes and Beers jersey. Moves off to the side. The group now really is starting to fracture. There we go up. You can just see the gap starting to open as you would expect at this phenomenal pace that is being set up here. And it is pretty fearsome stuff by the group as they come up. Another personal best going through that sprint, and that is not sprinting, that is just the speed of this pack getting quicker and quicker and quicker. So you can just start to see people starting to be distanced in 1s and 2s off the back of that pack. The speed is wound up on the front. It is sitting at that 4 watts per kilo mark, as close as they can get to it. And this is where things is going to get interesting because the gaps are opening. If you do get distance, find a group, find a wheel, jump on another wheel super quick. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are. There's going to be bodies around you that are going to give you a hand. Then make sure that you work together to bring yourselves back in and around as we take a little bit of a look up with our helicopter. That's just up above the riders coming around. You can see that the main bunch now is definitely starting to fracture. That pace has wound up now, and the go has gone. The go has gone. So, with the fracturing of that group, the beacon says that all holds are off. The limiter has gone. Izzy Torrey straight onto the front at 6.8 watts per kilo. Oh my goodness! Now this is going to start to split the group apart. You can just see Lawson responding 7.1. Tracy Seeley kicking up at 6s, just jumping into those wheels as Torrey leads them out down this straight here. The group is fractured. If we take a look, it's dot to dot behind, but Torrey putting in a big turn here. Morris not too far behind, just seen 7.5 coming from Morris. The group is definitely starting to feel the pressure. You can just see behind these riders, we're starting to get groups forming here. So looks like Emma Dooley here has got company in the shape of Claire Jessup and Pip Morn. Guys, work together here. This is where you three are going to be able to pack out and get some serious speed on. And a group of 3 riders behind then. I think Julie Scales has got company coming behind. Emma Gilbert almost onto her wheels. This is another 2 riders together. Becky Porter-James has got Sammy Stewart and Kay Measures behind as they push in here. So Measures and Stewart together at the moment. Porter-James just in front. Scales, Gilbert all together as well. Dooley is in here with another group. The main pack still continues to push onwards here, but they're across the road now. So are any of the groups behind going to be able to recover and close that gap down? That's going to be a big ask with the pace on the front. So just seeing Sonia Inslee rolling up to the front of that pack, then easing off the pressure here. So this is where the gang are going to start rolling through, and you can just see how quickly you can go from the front to the back just by easing off the pressure on those pedals. And now this is where our riders have to decide how much work do they want to do as they go out and around this circuit now. Just going to take a look. So looks like Becky Porter-James has got Sammy Stewart just coming in with K measures on the wheel, and they're coming at some speed here. So I think we could see Emma, Julie, going to be Becky, Sammy and Katie all together here. So from Emma, who's just getting some company here from Julie, we've got Porter-James, Sammy Stewart and K measures. That would make a really nice group of 5 riders. Those 5 will be chasing 3 riders who are about 15 seconds up the road, and that means that Dooley, Jessup and Morn will want to hold off the group of 5 behind if they can get that together. That chasing group are going to have a really good pack, but they've got to work together to get all in one group. If they do that, then it's going to be a real fight as they go on. Meanwhile, the main group that's left, what's left of the peloton, straight out across the road, the pressure clearly off at the front, and the pack not doing any kind of damage to the majority in there at the moment. Nobody's gone off the back for a little while here. This group distance as he went up over the top, just riding in with Joe Jarvis at the moment, 178 beats per minute. Let's have a little look at our Beacon, 158 at the moment. Lawson, let's have a little look. We've got Cindy Gaiman, 183. Sonny Inslee, 157. That's a machine. Joe and Lee in there. Let's have a little bit of a look. Lindsay Clark, 145. So we'll check down here for some more of our riders. Millie Skinner, 163, really one of our younger riders in this group. So it looks like Tiff 166 at the moment. Now, is anybody going to try and whittle this group down a little bit smaller as they come in underneath the underpass? Is anybody going to put some serious kicks up here? I don't think they are at the moment. Torrey, though, is back on the pace. Yeah, she's gone for it here. So you can just see that Izzy Torrey again going hard this time round up there. Just a really aggressive ride from Torrey here, and looking to break the scoop. Gone for the aero power up as well. This is going to put some distance into the group. They're making them work behind. You can see the response is coming, and that's a great aggressive ride by Torrey. She's got 3 seconds on the pack, and the rest of the pack are in a bit of disarray here behind. Torrey doing an amazing job. 4 seconds now, that gap, and there's got to be a concerted response behind, and it's going to be Alex Morris who's going to be pulling that gap back down again, I think, as Morris kicking out nearly 7 watts per kilo. He's dragging that pack back through. So Torrey leading, Morris chasing behind, and you can just see if we jump in with Morris behind Morris. They're still a solid pack, but in front they're just starting to try and get that gap back down. They've got it down to 3 seconds. Millie Skinner knows the danger from Torrey in front, and now Skinner takes up her turn at the front. It looks like Sarah Hawkins right on the heels here as well. So Hawkins sat in this pack. The group, it isn't shedding riders particularly at the minute. We take a little bit of a look back. There's nobody really in sight now. That group behind being a distance, but the gang is all together as they chase up on to this straight. So we hit the line. It's going to be 1 lap to go, plus the run to the green, plus that finishing straight. So a 1 lap plus finishing straight to go as we hit that sort of 30k mark. We should be going underneath the green sprint banner with about 6.6k to go. At the moment, this group back together again. The group holding steady. We're going to just take a little bit of a drop back. The chasers can see that beacon in front. These three riders working well together. So Emma Dooley, Claire Jessup, Pip Morn, all in this group. Behind then, this is going to be the red beacon group here. This is a fantastic group. Look at this. So these 4 riders are together now. So Sammy Stewart, Becky Porter, James, Julie Scales in here. Emma Gilbert in this group as well as they push on in here. I think looks like Katie just losing touch with that group. So 4 riders all together. No, Katie I think is just taking a jump out as the pace had gone up there. So 4 riders now chasing 3. 18 seconds is the difference between them. Sammy Stewart is going to look to try and bring them along at enough of a pace that they can all get there, try and get them as close as possible without blowing anybody out of the back, and that is a real tricky art form. Hopefully Sammy is going to be up to the task. She's got to make sure she's got the control, got the pace, got the speed, not losing anybody. Meanwhile, front group all together at the moment. No solo sprint up here. Remember, it is going to be 1 lap from green to green, coming up as the riders hit the green banner at the top of the hill. So they will finish at the green banner next time around. And at the moment, it seems like there's been a bit of a cessation of hostilities at the moment, a bit of a truce declared down here, because this group not dropping anybody off the back at the moment, which means probably everybody regarding their strength as they come in towards the line, watching each other very carefully as they come up this straight. We're going to get our drone up in the air, and at the moment, this group, so we will be finishing at the green banner next time around, and the riders are pretty much together, and looks like the yellow beacon has decided, you know what, with 1 lap to go, you're all taking it way too easy here. I'm going to go have a little bit of a dig. There's nothing to stop our yellow beacons going off and taking the win. It's been done before. It's been done by the Wolf, Jimmy Allen, when he was the rider. He was out giving regular digs on the front, really breaking it up. Russ has taken the win though, repeatedly before when he's somebody's poked the bear a little bit too hard. The Wolf has been a little bit kinder. Now is our yellow beacon going to take this out? Behind Millie Skinner is trying to respond, and you can see the damage is being done here. They're in one long line behind our beacon. Let's get that helicopter up. Look at that. They're in what the damage is being done here. There are fractures everywhere. And our yellow beacon is not happy with them all sitting there twiddling their thumbs and not going on the offensive. So great attacking riding here. And this is going to really mix things up behind. Jarvis and co are now at 1 second behind. You can just see as these riders come around down onto the straight. The beacon is still clear. 1 second clear behind the beacon. Then the chase coming from Morrison. All of this group together. They've got to close that gap down. We're just going to take a little bit of a look. Looks like Lee and Clark at the moment just in trouble at the back of this string of 5 riders, in fact. Now they're trying to close the gap down on that yellow beacon. They're just taking a little bit of a look. Still got room. There's still a little bit of daylight between the yellow beacon and the riders behind. It's more than 6 meters, which means that they're having to work. Clark, Jarvis, Gagan, Fletcher, along with Tracy Seeley, the Terminator, trying to get that gap back down again. And Cindy Gagan doing a great job of pushing Alex Morris now coming up. They know the catch is about to be made. Are we going to see that classic counter-attacking move? Just seeing Breton just starting to be distance here. As we see Lee now goes up over the top. Gagan, because Torrey comes in quickly. Now, is anybody going to attack? Once again, Tracy Fletcher in there in the Beers and Bikes. Tiff Fletcher in the GB kit at the back of this group. Joanne Lee in the purple in the middle on that pink Tron bike as well. Seeley with that pink Rafa stripe across the back. Clark in there with the 4i kit on. Izzy Torrey in that yellow and black kit as well. We've got Millie Skinner in the grey of Downing Cycling, and I think Sonia Inslee in there in the all black kit. The super sprinter sat in that gang as well. You can just see Alex Morris in that orange kit just moving up on the right hand side, as now we're just seeing a move here being made off the front, and it looks to be like Fletcher's just disappeared off the screens there. So it looks like Tiff Fletcher getting a drop out at the most inopportune moment known to man. So Emma now on a bit of a move up at the front of that group. We're going to just jump in with our Beacon, going for it once again, just trying to stretch this going out, just trying to stretch the gaps. So now the group respond very quickly indeed. Seeley tucked into this group, I think Tiff Fletcher going on the attack and just getting it now. Bratton and Hawkins just behind. They've 1 minute 12 on Jesper Dooley, 119 to Morn, 144 to the Red Beacon bus. This group, though, it's a little bit fractured as they come around this turn. They've got to get it back together again as they come down this straight. We're just in with Gagan, who goes up into the lead in front of Seeley there. Seeley pushes on, but I think the riders now just yo-yoing once again. They're about to drop down the long straight alongside the Seine here, alongside the river. You can just see the middle of the gardens in the centre of the river down beside them. The Arc de Triomphe up at the top of the road, and you just see the Eiffel Tower, in fact, in the distance as well. These riders are all over the road now. This is a little bit twitchy here, a little bit of a waiting game being played by these riders. Alex Morris in the orange just sitting second wheel to Sonia Inslee in the black. John Lee third wheel on that pink Tron bike. With the pocket full of ride-ons on that purple kit. Torrey now hanging off the back. Is he Torrey laying off, waiting to sprint through, using the draft to kick all the way through this group? Because everybody can see everything. One of the key tactics that you can use is to actually lay off, get to about 4 meters behind the last rider in the group, which means that you're still getting the draft, and then push. Use that maximum draft effect to accelerate up through the draft, through the pack, and off away from the front. Great tactic to be able to use. Can these riders do that? I think this is going to be a big ask at the moment, because everybody's attentive. Nobody's wanting to let this go at the moment as we drop down in with this group. Who is going to be able to go clear? Who's going to put the attack on once again? You just see the Beacon goes for it. It's not messing about here. Maybe just a preemptive strike here with the feather flag engaged quite early there, but onto the climb. And you can see Skinner, Inslee and Morris equal to this. The riders behind are pushing, and Torrey comes up over the top. I think Torrey's going to come through at some speed here. Then she's going to go on the attack again. And it could well be Izzy Torrey looking to whittle this group down. She's going to be putting the pressure on the rider. Skinner in fourth wheel at the moment. It's Morris in second, Lawson in third, Skinner in fourth wheel. Then Jarvis, Tracy in there, Clark, Fletcher moving up. And onto the front goes Morris now, and Morris goes through. She's got some serious pace. She's stringing them out, but she's not breaking clear. And this is the problem when you come through. Unless you've got the pace to kick incredibly hard, you're going to find that gap opens up. You can just see the yellow beacon after those repeated attacks just working away onto the back of this group once again. Looks like Sonia Inslee, after staying with them on that riser, the continued push from Torrey doing the damage and shedding Inslee. She's got to really push to get back in to this group once again. Now this group is back together. We're just riding in with Terminator 2.0. Tracy Seeley, a rider infamous for getting new FTP week after week after week, ride after ride, even in the same week. And now sat on the front, Torrey sits off the back again, just waiting to squeeze through this group. We're on to the straight. Our riders could just about, if they had a telescope, make out the finish up by the Arc de Triomphe. So they've got to have about 1.5k to go. Torrey just using a draft up here, maybe in the hope of getting something more useful on that final climb up to the sprint. Now Fletcher goes through on the back of this group. Can't discount Tracy Fletcher, a real fearsome competitor, as we see Torrey now pushing up with Morris now. Morris has gone hard. She's gone through underneath the line. Maybe she's hoping for a double power up here. You can get the first one. If you're using the first one, you go through, you can often get a second one as you go underneath the banner. She's got to get them. Look at that. The lap times come down again. 9:55 this time. And Alex Morris now starts to get get a bit of a gap, 3 seconds, and they're looking at each other here. They're all sitting looking at each other. This is really dangerous stuff at the moment because Morris, after being attentive, all riders gone early. She's got the gap. It's a long way. It's going to hurt if she can hold this lot off behind. Now, who is going to take up the running behind? If they look at each other, it's going to be all over. Morris now at 6 seconds. The gap's going out 7 seconds. Who is going to blink first in this group behind? Who is going to be the one who blinks? Morris is in the distance. She's got the gap. She's now at 9 seconds and it's opening up again. And somebody's got to go. If they don't go, they are going to miss out here. They're all going to be racing for first loser spot. And Skinner now decides she's going to take a little bit of pace up here. Lee goes up, but they're not going quick enough. I don't think Morris could be heading into a fantastic solo victory. She's got to hold them off. She's at 5.3. That Beacon group is behind. Jarvis now starts to come at 5.5. Morris is still sitting just under 5. Now Torrey kicks. Torrey kicks in, trying to break clear, trying to open up the gap. Has she got anything left? I'm not sure they have. Jarvis puts a kick in. Jarvis is trying to close that gap down. They know time is running out here. We're just going to take a little bit of a look up. You can see that gantry is coming. That gap is huge, and Morris might have done this with that early attack. She's got lightweight wheels on there. She's gone early, and this is some ride by Alex Morris. If you're going to use your power-ups, you're going to put your speed in. This is the way to take a win on the Donny Chaingang solo. She can sit up, she can have an espresso on the way through. She can pop that champagne cork. The victory goes to Alex Morris with an amazing ride there. It's going to be Skinner who's going to get first loser today. Not like her. Tracy Seeley comes through in second place. Jarvis Fletcher, Lawson, Gagan come through. Torrey, after all that work, not taking it. Lindsay Clark comes through. Then Lee, followed by our yellow Beacon. But I tell you what, that was some ride by Alex, who kicked on that lower slope and kept on going to stay clear. Sonia Inslee on the ramp up here. Amazing stuff. I think there's going to be some very, very sore legs now as they come up this slope. And a great ride there by Alex Morris, who's going to be heading down the other side fairly soon after the pace she went up there. That was incredible riding. Now, good to see Sonia out of the saddle. Final kick from Sonia into the line. Oh, not even the pace left to sprint as she comes in through the line behind Sarah Hawkins. I think he's holding off the gang behind. She is indeed. So it's going to be Sarah going to be our next ride in through the line. So I think Lala just having the first rider to get her breath back enough to chat on the way through as Lawson puts it in. Then Hawkins in and through. New PB from Hawkins. Next up is going to be Julie Bratton. Good ride by Julie. She goes in underneath the line. Then it's going to be the next two riders. It's going to be between these two. Is it going to be Emma Dooley? Is it going to be Claire Jessup? These two have been working together. At what point do they stop working together? You can just see Jessup just hanging onto the back wheel. That green banner is coming. Who is going to get this? We can just see Jessup on the back wheel here. Just holding the wheels here of Dooley. They're coming in towards that green banner. They've got this little roll down and then that final kick up now. Jessup puts in a draft in the hope, I think that, Dooley put in a draft in the hope that Jessup is going to come through. She's going to get some assistance on the way through. But Jessup, I think, just holding back a little bit here on that Tron bike. Two very different bikes. You've got a lightweight bike and then you've got the Tron bike in gear now. This is for the green banner. They've got to put this final kick in here. Now Dooley starts to wind it up. Jessup's responding. They're up to 5 watts per kilo and Jessup's been saving a power up for this. You can see that feather flagger's coming at just the right time. Dooley's responding at 5.3. 5.5 from Jessup. Jessup used that power up, I think, at just the right time. She's holding off Dooley. She comes through. Great ride there by both our riders. And again, another PB. And that power up just bringing Jessup in and through as well with that increase in speed. Great time, 17 seconds on the way in and through now. our next riders on the way towards the line. This is the group making the way up here. So we've got Becky Porter James in here. Who's going to come in? Who's going to get it? I think it's going to be Pip Morn's going to get this. So Morn gets it. Oh, Sammy just doesn't quite get that timing right on the way through of the sprint. She was looking to just take that. So Pip Morn gets it. Then it's going to be Emma Gilbert immediately behind Becky Porter James in there. Becky already off those pedals. Come on, Becky. Roll those legs round through after that finish. We're just seeing Julie just ticking those legs in and through. And got to say a massive well done to our riders. Brilliant ride by our Beacon Sammy, who's just on her way round. We're going to try and catch up with Emma, who I'm hoping has managed to get a breath back. Emma, how are you doing out there?
All good over here, thanks, Matt.
I've just seen our Red Beacon Sammy, an amazing job done by her, towing riders in and through, speeding up the end there. But Pip Morn, great sprint by her. She stopped Sammy, who is a phenomenal sprinter, coming into the line. I thought it was really good to see.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? Right the way back, even the Red Beacon group is sprinting for the line and taking no prisoners.
Yeah, not many, Benny. It was just nuts, wasn't it, coming through? I have to say, I think one of my favourite sprints in terms of sprints was the sprint between Claire Jessup and Emma Dooley, because the pair of them were fighting it out. And they were just working, and Jessup just had that power up on the way through. Just timed it right and got that climb. Great sprint between those two. And at the front, I mean, Alex Morris, I mean, what a ride by her to take that win. Amazing kick as she came through that orange banner in the orange kit, and she held it all the way. I mean, great ride by her.
Oh, yeah, and didn't she take the group by surprise? I don't think anyone was expecting that, and nobody thought it was going to stay either, because nobody chased it. They weren't really watching. I think we were watching each other and not watching what was going on ahead. Yep,
definitely, and it definitely shows that you've got to stay with the pace. I'm loving some of the comments. That was harder than last night's race. Well, yeah, it's as the saying goes, it ain't easy. It's the Donny Chaingang, and our riders improving all the time. And great to have all of our riders on there. I know a lot of people on the recovery back from doing Nationals rides and racing, but great to see so many of our riders in action already on the way through. Going to say a very quick thank you, Emma, for once again being our Yellow Beacon tonight. I'm sure you've enjoyed it on the way through.
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. Really good ride tonight. Thank you to everyone who joined.
So great to catch up with Emma. We are going to let our riders complete their warm down. Quick reminder from me, make sure you subscribe to the Donny Cycling YouTube channel, get signed on for those rides. Come and have a go. Our beacons are there to look after you. The back you've seen, we look after everybody on the way through. The aim is to keep getting everybody quicker and quicker as they get their way around the circuit. Don't forget, of course, if you want to support the gang, whether you're a rider or not, don't forget there's some fantastic discounts. That means that you get your fee that for joining the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, back very easily. You don't need to buy very many pairs of Oakleys, much recovery fuel, new duo bars. It could be coffee, it could be Velaskin products, and great stuff coming from Velaskin as well. A pair of Halo wheels and so on. Some great sustainable kit from Gritty, and those discounts that we give to the members, basically a way of saying thank you, and means that realistically, quite often you can join and get more than your money back every single month, which is great. Everybody wins situation. So don't forget, if you've got a few quid spare, dive on the Chain Gang or join the DCG gang. Don't forget, of course, always free to ride and watch the Donny Chain Gang. So make sure you tune in next time. From me, Matt Payne, from Emma, our Yellow Beacon, from our Red Beacon, Sammy Stewart, and from everybody on the Donny Chain Gang. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Russ is back. We're on the out and back circuit in WOWDCG tomorrow, and we'll catch up with you then on another Donny Chain Gang.